There are machines that blur the boundary between technology and art. The kind that make time slow when you hear them come alive. They do not just move. They perform. Their sound, their precision, their weight on the edge of control tell a story about how far human engineering can go before it outpaces its own rules. This story is about one such machine, a creation that dared to bring racetrack purity to the city streets. It captured the heartbeat of an era obsessed with speed, precision, and the pursuit of perfection on two wheels. By the early 1990s, it had become the ultimate symbol of what a street-legal race replica could be, and its legend still fuels obsession among collectors and riders today. This is the journey of the Honda NSR250R, 1993. The street-legal GP bike that defined the 1990s and set the template for performance machines that followed. If you enjoy deep dives into the icons that shaped our riding culture, hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments which legend we should explore next. In 1993, the Honda NSR250R stood at the intersection of technology, competition, and cultural fascination with racing on two wheels. It was the culmination of a decade-long evolution that began when manufacturers in Japan realized that the line between track bikes and street bikes could be thinner than anyone imagined. Honda had been chasing success in the Grand Prix 250 cubic centimeters class, a proving ground for agility, power delivery, and precision engineering. The NSR250R brought that experience to public roads in a form that was as close to the real race machine as regulations would allow. Riders who approached it knew they were not simply buying a commuter motorcycle. They were buying a slice of the Grand Prix dream that could be parked in a suburban garage. The heart of the 1993 Honda NSR250R was its 249 cubic centimeters liquid-cooled two-stroke V-twin. A power plant with razor-sharp throttle response and a sound that could make enthusiasts stop mid-conversation. It was paired with Honda's PGM2 and later PGM3 electronic control systems, which managed ignition timing and power delivery with a sophistication that few road bikes could match at the time. This was no ordinary two-stroke. It was engineered for precision and predictability under load, a key trait for racers transitioning from track to street. At peak performance, it delivered around 45 horsepower, modest by today's numbers but enough to propel a machine weighing barely over 300 pounds to remarkable speeds. The NSR250R's aluminum twin-spar frame was another clue to its racing DNA. Honda had studied the flex and torsion dynamics of its GP bikes and translated those learnings into a chassis that could carve through corners with uncanny balance. Every weld, every pivot point, and every suspension angle served one purpose: to reproduce the feel of a race bike in an environment filled with traffic lights and speed limits. This made it a demanding partner. It asked riders to bring skill, not just courage. Those who understood its rhythm were rewarded with one of the purest handling experiences of the 1990s. Yet, despite its brilliance, the NSR250R was a paradox. It was built for the public, but not exactly for the average public rider. In Japan, licensing restrictions kept displacement and power figures modest, so Honda used clever engineering to give the NSR250R personality without breaching regulations. It was a masterclass in constraint. Engineers introduced exhaust valves that varied timing and pressure to manage power delivery. They balanced performance with compliance. The result was a bike that could behave politely in city traffic but transform into a track animal when given open road and revs. Aesthetically, the 1993 Honda NSR250R carried unmistakable visual cues from its racing counterpart, the NSR250 GP machine. From its aggressive fairing lines to its compact tail section, everything suggested function first, style second. But the irony was that this ruthless focus on performance made it beautiful in its own right. Riders who grew up watching 250 cubic centimeters Grand Prix races could now feel part of that world, even if their riding playground was a mountain pass instead of a professional circuit. The model's allure was also deeply tied to its exclusivity. The NSR250R was primarily sold in Japan and select export markets, and many units never officially reached American shores. This scarcity added to its mystique. Enthusiasts who managed to import one faced the challenge of navigating local emissions and registration laws, often treating the bike as a collector's piece rather than a daily rider. Even so, the idea of owning something so close to Honda's GP heritage was irresistible. It represented not just a purchase, but a statement of passion and precision. Technically, The NSR250R was as complex as it was beautiful. Its power band demanded finesse, its carburetors required careful tuning, and its maintenance intervals were far more aggressive than four-stroke bikes of the same era. But that was part of its character. The sound of the twin cylinders spooling up to their sweet spot, the way it flicked into corners, and the feedback it gave through the frame and bars were experiences no modern fuel-injected engine could replicate. In the right hands, it was not just transportation. It was communication between rider and machine. Behind the scenes, Honda's development philosophy for the NSR250R reflected a larger company strategy. The brand was determined to prove that technology from the racetrack could elevate the everyday rider's experience. Every refinement, from the aerodynamic bodywork to the digital ignition mapping, was informed by lessons learned on the world stage. It was this cross-pollination between competition and consumer engineering that made the 1993 NSR250R such a pivotal point in motorcycle history. It was as much a statement of intent as it was a product. The 1993 iteration in particular marked a turning point, introducing refinements that improved rigidity, reduced weight, and fine-tuned aerodynamics. It was the last truly unrestricted expression of the concept before environmental pressures began to reshape what was possible. Honda's engineers knew they were building the pinnacle of two-stroke performance, and they poured every ounce of racing insight into the process. The result was a bike that demanded respect not through brute power, but through surgical precision and engineering purity. Even decades later, the 1993 Honda NSR250R continues to fascinate riders who encounter it. It is the sound, the feel, and the idea that something so raw could be street legal that makes it unforgettable. Unlike modern sport bikes with electronic aids and traction systems, the NSR250R placed complete trust in the rider. It had no safety net. It taught riders to listen, to anticipate, and to respect the delicate balance between power and control. That relationship forged a bond that still defines the nostalgia surrounding it. For many, owning or even riding an NSR250R is a rite of passage into the world of classic two-strokes. It represents an era when engineering limits were tested daily, and when manufacturers competed not only for sales but for pride. The 1993 version stands as the refined masterpiece in that lineage, the culmination of every advancement and lesson from its predecessors. Each mechanical element was an invitation to push skill further. Each ride was a reminder that perfection is not just about numbers but about feeling. By the end of its production, the Honda NSR250R had become more than a motorcycle. It was a time capsule. It captured a unique philosophy of design that would soon vanish under changing emissions laws and market realities. Riders who experienced it firsthand still speak of its agility, its responsiveness, and its ability to transform an ordinary road into a racing circuit for the senses. For those who never did, the legend remains an aspiration. A story told through surviving examples lovingly restored and preserved. The 1993 NSR250R is proof that when a company like Honda decides to chase perfection, even compromise can become a form of art. The engineers behind it were not simply solving technical challenges. They were crafting an emotional experience that could bridge the gap between human reflex and machine intelligence. Every ride, every corner, every high-rev scream of that V-twin was an act of connection. It was not just transportation. It was revelation. And that is what continues to keep its name alive among enthusiasts today. The 1993 Honda NSR250R was not born in isolation. It was the result of relentless iteration and technical battles fought over milliseconds and millimeters. By the time it arrived, Honda had already perfected its formula through years of competition in the 250 cubic centimeters Grand Prix class. That racing knowledge was the blueprint. Engineers analyzed the telemetry of factory race bikes and distilled that data into a package civilians could own, though only a select few truly understood what they were riding. Beneath its fairings lived a symphony of precision that reflected Honda's obsession with perfection at every scale. The NSR250RS engine was a compact marvel. The 90-degree V-twin layout gave it a naturally balanced feel while allowing a slim profile, perfect for aerodynamic efficiency. Its cylinders were designed to breathe at astonishing speeds, aided by reed valves that managed airflow with clockwork rhythm. The RC valve system, Honda's electronically controlled exhaust valve, modulated gas flow to broaden the power band. This meant riders could surf torque smoothly at mid-range or unleash sharp bursts of power higher up the rev range. Few two-strokes managed that balance as elegantly as this one. Its reputation grew not just for being fast, but for being usable in ways earlier race replicas were not. Fuel and ignition were managed by Honda's proprietary PGM system. In an era before digital tuning became mainstream, this computer-controlled unit adjusted timing and fuel delivery based on throttle position and engine speed. It gave the 1993 Honda NSR250R a level of responsiveness that felt almost psychic, anticipating the rider's next move with uncanny accuracy. When paired with its close-ratio 6-speed gearbox, each shift felt surgical. There was no slack, no hesitation, only momentum. This was what set the NSR apart. Not brute strength, but mechanical harmony. Handling was equally refined. The aluminum twin-spar frame, forged using techniques derived directly from Honda's GP race program, offered an ideal mix of stiffness and compliance. Suspension duties were handled by Showa components that could be tuned for street comfort or track aggression. Combined with a wheelbase shorter than most 600 cubic centimeter sport bikes, the NSR250R danced through corners rather than attacked them. It was about precision, not intimidation. The steering felt telepathic, letting riders glide through corners as if the bike were reading their thoughts. This characteristic made it a benchmark for chassis design, one that would influence sport bikes for years to come. Braking was another arena where Honda's engineering shone. Twin front discs with 4-piston calipers delivered immense stopping power without upsetting the chassis balance. The rear brake, often overlooked on lighter machines, was tuned to provide just enough bite to stabilize without locking under stress. Together, they formed a braking system that complemented the NSR's agility rather than dominating it. In skilled hands, the 1993 Honda NSR250R could stop, turn, and accelerate with the seamless rhythm of a well-conducted performance. Every detail on the NSR250R had intent behind it. The aerodynamics were not simply styled for drama. They were shaped for downforce and stability at high speed. The fairing channels managed airflow across the radiator, the side vents reduced turbulence, and even the tail section contributed to clean exit flow. The result was a motorcycle that sliced through air rather than fought it, maintaining composure at velocities that would rattle less sophisticated designs. This was not designed for vanity. It was designed for victory. Honda's decision to give the 1993 NSR250R the look and proportions of its GP sibling was also strategic. It bridged aspiration and accessibility. A rider who grew up watching 250 cubic centimeters races could now experience a facsimile of that speed, sound, and control. The experience was raw yet polished, intimidating yet rewarding. It was the kind of engineering that made a rider feel they were part of something bigger than themselves. A machine that mirrored skill, amplified intent, and punished hesitation. That dynamic forged loyalty. Once someone rode an NSR, few other motorcycles felt alive in the same way. Yet owning one required dedication. The two-stroke heart that made the NSR250R legendary also made it temperamental. Frequent maintenance was not optional. It was a ritual. Pistons and rings demanded inspection, power valves needed cleaning, and carburetors required meticulous tuning to perform at their peak. The cost of that commitment was high, but the payoff was transcendence. Riders who mastered its quirks joined an unspoken fraternity of precision mechanics and performance purists. The NSR250R did not just test riding ability. It tested patience and understanding. For those who accepted the challenge, the rewards were unmatched. On a twisty road, the 1993 Honda NSR250R felt weightless. It responded instantly to body movement, leaned with intent, and accelerated with a visceral thrill that modern four-strokes rarely replicate. Its lightness allowed it to change direction mid-corner with grace, while its suspension absorbed imperfections without drama. Riders learned to trust it implicitly. It was not about horsepower. It was about momentum, precision, and the endless pursuit of flow. Collectors today still marvel at how advanced the NSR250R remains even by modern standards. Its power-to-weight ratio rivals many larger machines, and its feedback is unmatched. Enthusiasts who restore these bikes often describe the process as part archaeology, part devotion. Each bolt, each bearing, and each decal tells a story about an era when engineering mastery met cultural obsession. In 1993, this motorcycle was not just a product. It was the physical embodiment of Honda's competitive spirit. The NSR250R also represented the height of a disappearing craft. The two-stroke engine, once dominant, was beginning to lose ground to four-stroke innovation and tightening emissions laws. Honda knew the end was near for this type of machine, but instead of retreating, they made the NSR250R a farewell masterpiece. It was lighter, faster, and more refined than any of its predecessors, a final celebration of combustion's purest form. Riders could sense that they were witnessing the closing act of an era, and that awareness added emotional weight to every ride. Within the broader history of motorcycling, the 1993 Honda NSR250R stands as a paradox. A product of perfectionism constrained by regulation. Every system on the bike exists at the edge of what was legally and physically possible. It is a study in tension, between control and chaos, innovation and limitation, racing purity and street legality. Honda's engineers walked that tightrope with astonishing grace, producing a machine that remains revered 3 decades later. It is the definitive statement of what the 250 cubic centimeter sport bike could achieve before the curtain fell on the two-stroke age. Today, surviving NSR250RS are treated like heirlooms. Their value rises not only because of rarity but because they symbolize a philosophy modern manufacturing rarely embraces: simplicity in pursuit of excellence. There are faster bikes now, more powerful ones, even safer ones, but few that feel as direct or honest. When you look at the 1993 Honda NSR250R, you see a machine that captured lightning in a bottle. A motorcycle that taught the world that perfection is not about complexity, but clarity of purpose. And that purpose was speed refined into art. By the time the 1993 Honda NSR250R reached riders, the world around it was already changing. Environmental regulations were tightening, and the automotive industry was beginning to pivot toward cleaner, more efficient technologies. For a two-stroke like the NSR, that meant the clock was ticking. Still, in its moment, it represented the ultimate expression of freedom through engineering. Every gear change, every flick of the throttle, was an act of rebellion against the growing wave of standardization. What made the NSR250R special was not just how fast it went, but how alive it felt. It was a motorcycle that demanded participation, not just observation. The 1993 Honda NSR250R marked the final evolution of a design philosophy that would soon vanish. Its successors would grow quieter, heavier, and more electronically controlled, but none would replicate its immediacy. The relationship between rider and machine was symbiotic. The rider became a part of the bike's mechanical rhythm. Small inputs produced immediate, tangible responses. On winding roads or closed courses, this connection transformed motion into a dialogue of trust. The NSR250R rewarded smoothness and punished hesitation. There was no hiding behind electronics or rider aids. Its precision made it a teacher, revealing a rider's weaknesses while amplifying their strengths. As riders developed skill aboard the NSR250R, they discovered its true purpose: to deliver purity. That purity extended beyond performance numbers. It was emotional and sensory. The crisp throttle response, the sharp scent of two-stroke exhaust, the way it balanced on the edge of traction, all of it contributed to an experience that could not be duplicated. It taught riders to respect the machine, to manage momentum, to plan every corner like a chess move. In that sense, the NSR250R was not simply fast. It was philosophical. It asked riders to think, to listen, and to synchronize with it completely. This level of involvement created a following that has never faded. Owners treated the NSR250R like a precision instrument, maintaining it meticulously and cherishing every ride. The sound of its twin-cylinder engine became a symbol for a generation that valued control over convenience. By the early 2000s, as four-stroke sport bikes dominated the market, the NSR's reputation only grew stronger. Riders who had experienced it firsthand spoke of its immediacy, its ability to make them feel connected to the road in a way modern machines often filtered out. In that nostalgia lies the power of the 1993 Honda NSR250RS legacy. Collectors today seek out these bikes not just for performance, but for what they represent. Restoring a 1993 Honda NSR250R is like preserving an endangered language, a mechanical dialect that communicates speed through simplicity. Every restored example is a tribute to an era when performance was measured by instinct rather than software. And unlike many classic machines that age into relics, the NSR250R still performs brilliantly when properly maintained. Its lightweight design, razor-sharp steering, and balanced suspension keep it relevant even on modern roads. It is a reminder that great engineering does not expire. It endures. The global fascination with the NSR250R also speaks to its cultural impact. While officially produced for the Japanese domestic market, its fame spread through racing footage, magazines, and word of mouth. Gray market imports found their way into garages across Europe, Australia, and eventually the United States. Each import was treated like contraband treasure, a tangible link to a world of racing excellence that most riders could only watch on TV. The bike's scarcity elevated it from object to icon. Even those who never owned one often remember the first time they heard its high-pitched wail echo through a tunnel or saw its red and white livery streak by. In Japan, the NSR250R developed a cult-like following among young riders and veteran enthusiasts alike. It represented a bridge between generations. Older riders admired its engineering purity, while younger riders saw it as rebellion on wheels. Clubs and meetups formed around it, and tuning houses began offering specialized parts to unlock even more performance. The aftermarket scene flourished, with modifications ranging from subtle carburetor tweaks to full race-spec conversions. Each build told a story of devotion to a machine that refused to conform. The NSR250R became a symbol of individuality in a landscape increasingly defined by regulation. But time, as always, adds layers to the story. The two-stroke technology that defined the NSR250R also sealed its fate. Stricter emissions laws made its smoky exhaust unacceptable for mainstream markets. Manufacturers shifted toward cleaner, quieter four-stroke engines. Honda, ever adaptive, moved on to developing advanced four-stroke sport bikes like the CBR series. Yet none captured the raw, unfiltered magic of the NSR's mechanical soul. Enthusiasts recognized that something essential had been lost. A kind of honesty that only comes from a machine with no digital mediation. The 1993 Honda NSR250R became not just a relic, but a reminder of what pure engineering once meant. In the decades since, the motorcycle world has evolved toward electronic intervention, traction control, ride-by-wire, and semi-active suspension. These systems make bikes faster and safer, but also more insulated. Against that backdrop, the NSR250R stands as a counterpoint. It embodies a philosophy of mastery through skill, not circuitry. Every rider input matters. Every mistake is felt. This rawness has become its enduring appeal. Collectors chase authenticity, and few machines deliver it like the 1993 NSR250R. For those who seek a connection that feels alive, the NSR remains a gold standard. Its legacy also stretches beyond nostalgia. Many modern designers and engineers cite the NSR250R as inspiration for today's lightweight, high-revving sport bikes. The idea that agility and feedback matter more than sheer horsepower owes much to this motorcycle. The geometry lessons from its frame, the tuning balance between stiffness and compliance, and even the aerodynamic cues continue to influence sport bike design 3 decades later. In that sense, the NSR250R is not just a historical artifact, it is a living influence. Perhaps what makes the 1993 Honda NSR250R truly special is the way it captures a universal truth about engineering. Limits are where creativity thrives. Faced with displacement caps, emissions laws, and strict weight targets, Honda's engineers produced something extraordinary precisely because of those restrictions. They turned limitation into liberation. In doing so, they created a machine that still resonates with riders who value feeling over convenience. The NSR250R's continued presence in garages and shows around the world proves that passion and craftsmanship never go out of style. When enthusiasts speak about the NSR250R, they often do so with reverence, as though describing a rare instrument or a fine piece of art. And perhaps that is exactly what it is. The combination of precision mechanics, lightness, and responsiveness gives it a timeless quality. In an age when motorcycles are defined by horsepower figures and digital dashboards, the 1993 Honda NSR250R reminds us that connection matters more than computation. It remains one of the few machines that can make even seasoned riders feel young again, chasing perfection one corner at a time. The legacy of the 1993 Honda NSR250R has grown far beyond its original purpose. What began as a street-legal echo of a Grand Prix machine has become a global reference point for what precision and passion can achieve when they coexist in balance. The NSR250R represents the peak of a philosophy that prioritized feel over figures and intuition over automation. Even in today's era of digital precision, it stands apart because it captures something few machines ever have: the perfect intersection of engineering clarity and human connection. The 1993 Honda NSR250R lives in a world that no longer exists. Its two-stroke heart speaks a language modern regulations no longer permit, yet enthusiasts still gather around surviving examples to celebrate the art of analog performance. Each one restored, each one fired up after years of care, carries the same thrill it did 3 decades ago. The sound, the vibration, the immediate response, all remain reminders that technology can serve emotion as much as function. It continues to attract riders who crave a visceral link to their machine, riders who believe mastery comes from understanding, not from software assistance. Its continued relevance lies not only in nostalgia, but in the lessons it teaches. The NSR250R proves that boundaries can inspire brilliance, that true innovation often comes from working within constraints rather than beyond them. Honda's engineers faced weight limits, emissions challenges, and cost controls, yet created a motorcycle that remains unmatched in balance and beauty. It is a living case study in the art of refinement, a testament to what happens when precision is guided by purpose instead of marketing. For collectors, the 1993 Honda NSR250R has transcended its category. It is no longer just a motorcycle. It is a cultural artifact. Each component reflects a period when craftsmanship still involved human judgment as much as technical specification. The frame welds, the machined cases, even the simplicity of its analog gauges tell stories of a time when riding meant reading the road through vibration and resistance. That authenticity has become its rarest feature. In an age of rapid obsolescence, the NSR's timelessness feels revolutionary. You could measure its impact by its numbers: power output, weight, lap times, but that would miss the point. The NSR250R's importance lies in its emotional bandwidth, in the way it transforms motion into experience. Every corner taken, every gear clicked, is part of a symphony that only 2 strokes could perform. The legacy it leaves is not in records broken, but in hearts captured. It continues to define what many riders secretly crave: a connection unfiltered by technology, a motorcycle that responds like an extension of the body. For Honda, the 1993 NSR250R remains a proud chapter, a symbol of its ability to translate racing excellence into real-world brilliance. It set standards that influenced every sport bike that followed, not through imitation but through philosophy. Lightness, responsiveness, and rider engagement became ideals to chase. Even today, modern engineers studying chassis balance or throttle sensitivity can trace their lineage back to lessons learned from the NSR project. It was more than a motorcycle. It was a blueprint for how to make performance human. When people encounter one now, they often feel the urge to listen before they look. The sound of that twin-cylinder engine idling is history breathing. It is mechanical poetry, written at a time when motorcycles were closer to living organisms than machines. Restorers and riders alike understand they are caretakers, preserving not just a bike but an idea. That simplicity, when perfected, can outlast complexity. That belief keeps the 1993 Honda NSR250R alive long after its production ended. And so, its story continues. Each surviving example on the road or in a museum carries forward the message that engineering excellence does not fade, it resonates. The NSR250R remains an invitation to rediscover why we ride in the first place. For connection, for focus, for the joy of mastering something that demands as much as it gives. It is proof that passion can be engineered, and that when done right, it never grows old. The Honda NSR250R, 1993. Forever the street-legal Grand Prix legend that defined a generation and continues to inspire those who chase perfection on 2 wheels.